I had a piece of red silk cloth. It was too small for a wedding dress, so I could only use it to embroider a bridal veil. It had taken me years of saving to buy it. I kept it tucked away at the bottom of my dowry chest, waiting to use it when Nicholas married me. But before Nicholas could marry me, he took in his widowed childhood sweetheart. My red silk became a new handkerchief in her hands. In my haste, I tried to snatch it back, but Nicholas shoved me to the ground. As he helped me up, he didn't forget to scold me. It is just a piece of cloth, and you are willing to hurt someone over it. We have money now, we can just buy another. I avoided his grasp and stood up, slapping him across the face. Then, I calmly proposed we break off the engagement. Nicholas clutched his cheek. You hit me and want to break our engagement. All for a piece of cloth. Yes, all for a piece of cloth. As I finished speaking, Eleanor came up from behind, her voice choked with tears. Brother Nicholas, it is all my fault. It is this handkerchief that caused all the trouble. As she spoke, she threw the handkerchief on the ground and stomped on it, crying. This red silk was of the finest quality. Usually, I would only dare to look at it after washing my hands, then carefully put it back in the chest. Now, it was being ground into the mud by Eleanor. The vibrant red silk was instantly stained with large patches of dirt, like my heart full of joy for Nicholas, now covered in disappointment. The moment Eleanor cried, Nicholas immediately turned to me. Felicity, come and apologize to Eleanor. She took my things without asking, and I am the one who has to apologize. Hearing this, Eleanor, behind Nicholas's back, shot me a triumphant smile, though her words were placating. It is all right, Brother Nicholas. I am fine. I was born with poor fortune. I am not worthy of such a fine thing. Nicholas already pitied Eleanor for being widowed at such a young age. Now her pitiful tone only deepened his sympathy. Felicity is just short-sighted, he consoled her. It is just a piece of cloth, worth nothing. Tomorrow, I'll take you to the shops. You can choose whatever you like. Nicholas had never shown me such gentleness and patience. I lowered my eyes to the scraped palm of my hand from the fall. Eleanor had Nicholas to protect her. Even if I wanted to argue, I wouldn't gain anything. I turned and limped back to my room to pack. Since the engagement was off, I had no reason to stay at the Zhao family home. Perhaps my limping figure looked a little pathetic. Nicholas followed me, asking if I was all right. After asking, he didn't forget to lecture me. Eleanor is a guest. You are always so jealous and petty with her. In the future, when I become an official, and you are an official's wife, you need to be more magnanimous. He chattered on. Seeing me ignore him and just focus on packing, he started to panic. What are you doing? I didn't answer, instead pulling out a money box from under the bed. Inside, there were 12 taels of silver in total, all small coins and copper pieces I had exchanged for whole silver. The majority was from selling tofu, and some was from Nicholas's work copying books. I took out the account book and divided the money. 5 taels for Nicholas, 7 for me. That piece of cloth was worth 3 taels. As I spoke, I took 3 taels from Nicholas's pile and put them in my pocket. You want to separate our assets. Nicholas finally understood. I nodded. Since we're breaking the engagement, we need to be clear about things. His face flushed red. All because of that wretched piece of cloth? This man probably couldn't understand plain language. I had already said it was because of the cloth. The cloth I had treasured for 2 years, the one I planned to make my bridal veil from, had become something Eleanor could trample on at will. I no longer wanted the cloth, and, naturally, I no longer wanted the man. Didn't bother with more words and slung my bundle over my back. Nicholas blocked the doorway. I told him to move. Have you thought this through? He said. Once you leave this house, don't even think about coming back. I nodded. He still wouldn't move. His voice tinged with anger. You have no one to rely on. Going out alone is suicide. Move. Eleanor, who had been eavesdropping outside, heard the commotion. Seeing that Nicholas intended to keep me, she quickly jumped in, her eyes brimming with tears. Miss Felicity, I am the one who should leave. I'll go now. She ran off crying, and even managed to fall after a few steps. Nicholas chased after her, and Eleanor got up and ran out of the house. He forgot about me and followed her. I bowed before the memorial tablet of Nicholas's mother. Foster mother, thank you for taking me in. Nicholas's heart is not with me. I must take my leave of you. When I left, the daylight was bright. I hugged my bundle and asked a boatman for the way to Fuzhou. That is a long way off. What are you going to Fuzhou for, young lady? I thought for a moment, a distant, fuzzy memory flashing through my mind. Home. The sound of water was faint. In the boat's cabin, I drifted off to sleep with the gentle rocking of the waves. In my dream, flames soared to the sky. My parents died horribly before my eyes. Their bodies blocked the door as soldiers tried to break in. With her last breath, my mother urged me to run. I ran and ran. I escaped the pursuing soldiers, but not the human traffickers. They caught me, their eyes gleaming with delight. This girl is a real beauty, a few years of raising, and she'll fetch a good price. The traffickers took me from place to place. I don't know how many hands I passed through or where I ended up. Finally, I escaped from a carriage during a moment of chaos. Starving, I collapsed in front of the Zhao family's door. Nicholas's mother, seeing I was clever, took me in. From then on, I became Nicholas's child bride. The Zhao family was not wealthy. Nicholas's father had died young. I was only 7 when I arrived, and already learning to grind soybeans and make tofu with his mother. At 11, his mother's cough worsened, and she passed away. I was left to fend for myself and the 12-year-old Nicholas. He was a sickly boy who couldn't carry heavy loads, only good for reading and writing. The family's money had been spent on his mother's illness. I took on all the household chores, tending the vegetable garden, feeding the chickens and ducks, making tofu to support us. All the expenses fell on me, including buying Nicholas's ink, paper, and brushes, and paying his school fees. Nicholas would occasionally help by selling a painting or a piece of calligraphy, but he said it was beneath a scholar. Eleanor was the only daughter of Nicholas's tutor. In his words, she was the moon in the sky, beautiful, serene, intelligent, and otherworldly. Felicity, you should read more when you have the time, he would sigh after praising her. I would clench my chilblained hands, ashamed of being looked down upon by him. To me, the Zhao family had saved my life, and Nicholas was my fiancé. He was handsome, talented, and knew many things I didn't understand. It was only natural that I admired and adored him. But when did I have time to read? The chickens and ducks needed feeding, and the donkey at the millstone was lazy. I had to watch it. The soybean milk needed to be boiled immediately. The firewood needed chopping. The tofu orders for the townspeople needed to be delivered. The boat lurched. I woke with a start, gazing at the full moon hanging in the sky. Mama Zhao, I murmured. I took care of Nicholas for 6 years. I don't owe your family anything anymore. It was late, and Felicity still hadn't returned. For the 32nd time, Nicholas stuck his head out to look at the main gate, a knot of worry tightening in his stomach. Felicity was timid. After her experience of being kidnapped, she never went out at night. When she first came to the Zhao family, she couldn't remember anything and would cry at the sight of strangers. She would cling to Nicholas's sleeve for security wherever she went. She must be shivering in some alley right now, he thought, and considered going out to find her. But then Eleanor called out to him in her delicate voice. Brother Nicholas, let's go look for Miss Felicity together. I feel so guilty that you two fought because of me. Nicholas's resentment towards Felicity resurfaced. Fine. Let her taste what it is like to be homeless. That would teach her not to be so jealous and cause trouble in the future. He looked at Eleanor, a thought crossing his mind. If only Felicity were as understanding as Eleanor. When Felicity came back, he would give her a good scolding. From the waterway, I transferred to a land route, then took another boat. After nearly half a month of travel, I finally reached Fuzhou. Standing on the pier, I looked at the strange yet familiar place, feeling a little dazed. Young man, how do I get to Willow Lane from here? A kind person pointed the way. I thanked him and left. My memory of Willow Lane was from 11 years ago. Many details were blurry. The pirates had come then. burning and looting everywhere. The rebuilt lane was not the same. The large willow tree in front of what used to be my house was gone. Below my feet, water flowed slowly in a channel. As I stood there, lost in thought, an old woman walked past me, then turned back. She looked at my face, surprised. "Are you the Liu family's girl?" I hesitated, then nodded. The old woman took my hand, looking me over. "It is a good thing you look just like your mother. Where have you been all these years, child?" We reminisced for a while. I learned she was a former neighbor, Granny Fang. I had lost my memory when I was kidnapped, and had only recently started remembering things, which was why I hadn't returned. But even if I had, what was there to come back to? My parents were dead. I still had no home. Granny Fang wiped her tears as she listened to my story. "Child, you have nowhere to go. Why don't you come and stay?" After years of living under someone else's roof, I didn't want to do it anymore. I thanked her for her kindness. "I make good tofu. I think I can support myself." Granny Fang was still worried. "I almost forgot. You still have an engagement." Seeing my surprise, she smiled. "It is with that boy from the Jiu family, Jasper Gu. He has been looking for you for a long time. I'll take you to him." I knew she meant well. But times had changed. My parents were gone, and I had been missing for so many years. The engagement should have been voided long ago. I came to Fuzhou not to get married, but to be self-reliant and live a stable life, so I politely declined. I found a cheap inn to stay in and immediately started looking for a place to rent, buying a millstone, a donkey, and so on. The old neighbors, knowing I was the Liu family's orphan, were eager to help. Within 5 days, I had rented a spacious house in a more remote location, and all the necessary equipment for making tofu was in place. That day, I made a tofu feast to treat the neighbors. My tofu was smooth and tender, and the dishes were delicious. Everyone praised my skills and promised to be my customers. After everyone left, I was clearing the tables. While sorting through the small gifts from the neighbors, I saw a piece of brightly colored cloth with a note attached. "I am occupied with urgent matters and could not help. Please accept this as a welcome gift. I will certainly apologize in person when we meet. Jasper Gu." I was stunned. Granny Fang had told me that Jasper's parents had also died in that disaster. He and his grandfather had depended on each other. After his grandfather passed away, Jasper became a constable at the local government office. I put the cloth away. I would return it when we met, and also discuss our nominal engagement. I couldn't afford to rent a shop, so I sold my tofu from a carrying pole, calling out on the streets. Business was good, and I quickly sold most of it. Much later, with only a small piece of tofu left in my basket, I was thinking of frying it for lunch. But as I was packing up, 3 thuggish-looking men cornered me in an alley. New here? Don't know the rules? The leader, with a scar on his face, had a wicked smile. Discretion is the better part of valor. I smiled apologetically and took out 10 coins from my purse. But my hand was slapped away. "Are you trying to get rid of a beggar?" They reached for my purse. Just then, steady footsteps echoed from the end of the alley. I looked up and saw a stranger, broad shoulders, tall and well-built. The light was behind him, so I couldn't see his face clearly, but I could make out his handsome profile. The 3 men turned and immediately wilted. "Bro, you." The man waved a hand, and the 3 of them, startled, were about to run. But the man they called Bro walked towards me, step by step. His shadow enveloped me, exuding an overwhelming presence. Terrified, I shakily grabbed my carrying pole and swung it at him. He caught it firmly. He laughed, his voice deep. What a fierce temper. I didn't know who he was. "Let go," I said, my voice dry. I am not to be trifled with. My fiancé is Jasper Gu, the head constable." The man was taken aback. "You are Jasper Gu's fiancé?" Seeing his hesitation, I nodded quickly. He let go of the pole, his voice tinged with laughter. "What a coincidence. I am also Jasper Gu, and I am also a head constable." Realizing he was the man himself, I was mortified. But he stopped smiling and said seriously, I am sorry. I scared you just now. He meant no harm. Seeing I was about to leave with my pole, he came over to help. His long arms and legs made the work easy. I couldn't refuse and let him carry the pole. Why did those men call you bro? Those ruffians were just released from jail. They're naturally scared of me, so they try to be friendly. I didn't expect it to cause a misunderstanding. I am truly sorry. Jasper's laughter was hearty. He seemed like a rough man, but he was surprisingly considerate. Seeing I was still worried about the ruffians, he reassured me. I'll walk you home, then go arrest them. If they cause trouble again, they'll be spending a few more days in jail. Although we were engaged, he was a complete stranger to me, and he seemed unusually polite. When we reached my rented courtyard, I invited him in for a cup of tea. Mr. Gu, I don't remember many things our engagement. Jasper nodded in understanding. Miss Liu, I came to see you not because of the engagement. Our families were close. After your parents died and you disappeared, I was worried about you being alone and have been asking around ever since. A pang of sorrow hit me, to think there was still someone in this world who cared about me. Thank you, Mr. Gu. I am doing well now. Jasper finished his tea and stood up. If you have any difficulties in the future, just let me know. As he was about to leave, I called out, Mr. Gu, I can't accept this cloth. Keep it, he smiled. I saw you when you first arrived. Your clothes were dusty, and you looked worn out. At your age, you should be wearing brighter colors. When you were little, your mother loved to buy you new dresses. You were always so fond of pretty things. Speaking of the past, Jasper's tone was familiar, making me feel less of a stranger and more at ease. My memories of my parents were vague, but as Jasper said, they must have loved me very much. After all, my name, Felicity, means unique happiness. I was their one and only treasure. My eyes welled up. I blinked hard. Then I'll accept it. Thank you, Mr. Gu. I almost forgot. In a few days, I'll take you to visit your parents' graves. The Gu family had helped with my parents' burial. I was about to kneel, but Jasper's strong arm gently supported me. Living well is the best way to repay them. I had established myself in the city. Selling tofu provided a steady income. I was planning to save up and rent a small shop to sell some cooked food. There were many merchants and laborers passing through here. If I calculated the costs right, delicious and cheap food would definitely be profitable. But it was just a thought for now. One day, Jasper took me to visit my parents' graves. I hadn't been there in 11 years, but the grass was not overgrown. Jasper must have been clearing it regularly. My gratitude for him deepened. On our way back down the mountain, we ran into some of Jasper's constables. They saw me and started teasing. No wonder the chief never got married. He had a sweetheart waiting for him. Go on, you lot, 'cause any more trouble and you'll be on night duty. They immediately behaved but then turned to me, winking and whispering, Miss, our Chief Gu is a good man. You'd better hold on tight. Lots of young ladies and wives have their eyes on him, so don't wait. My face flushed red. Jasper raised a fist as if to hit them, and they ran off, laughing. I lowered my head, too embarrassed to speak. Jasper, thinking I was angry, quickly said, My men are a bit rowdy. If they said anything inappropriate, I apologize on their behalf. It wasn't that serious. I shook my head to show I was fine. Mr. Gu, I am not that petty. But I suddenly remembered a time at the Zhao family home. I had brought Nicholas his lunch at the academy, and someone had teased him. Well, you lucky boy, your fiancé is a little beauty. Such a beauty bringing you food, Nicholas. You are not going to say thank you. When are you two getting married? We'll come for the wedding feast. It was just some harmless banter, but Nicholas had suddenly become furious. He didn't even eat his food and dragged me out of the courtyard. This is a place of learning. What are you doing here? Don't bring me food anymore. I didn't argue. I knew he was ashamed of me, but I had washed my face and changed into clean clothes before I went. Remembering the sadness and hurt I felt then, I couldn't help but look up at Jasper. His eyes were bright, with no trace of disdain for me. Instead, they were full of concern. So, it wasn't that I was unpresentable, it was just that Nicholas thought I was unworthy of him. And Jasper saw me as an equal. It was that simple. After Jasper walked me home, he was about to leave. I quickly invited him to stay for a simple meal. I should have hosted a more formal banquet to thank him properly, given that his family had buried my parents. But I didn't have much money to spare, so I made do with a 4-course meal and a soup. I was confident in my cooking. Nicholas, for all his criticism, had always praised my culinary skills. Sure enough, Jasper's face lit up with surprise after one bite. "This is delicious. Sister Felicity, you could be a head chef at the Grand Fortune restaurant." The Grand Fortune was one of the best restaurants in town, always bustling with customers. "If you like it, Mr. Gu, have some more. When I have the money, I'll treat you to a proper meal at the Grand Fortune." Jasper shook his head. "No need, your cooking is excellent." After the meal, Jasper helped me clear the dishes. "The cook at the government office has resigned and gone home," he said suddenly. "We'll need to find a new one. Would you be willing to try?" I wiped my hands, delighted. "That sounds great, but I still have to sell tofu. I am not sure about the timing." Jasper thought for a moment. "The office only needs lunch and dinner. If you want to try, I'll save a spot for you." I thought about it all night. I could make the tofu in the evening, sell it early in the morning, cook lunch at the office, and then grind the soybeans in the afternoon. That way, no time would be wasted. The next morning, I went to the back courtyard of the government office. 3 other cooks were there for the trial. After I finished, the secretary who tasted the food praised my dishes repeatedly. So, it was settled. I would cook at the government office every day for 500 copper coins a month. That was 1 tael of silver every 2 months. I did a quick calculation. Selling tofu brought in about 600 or 700 coins a month. With the cook's salary in 3 to 5 years, I might even be able to buy a small courtyard. I felt happy and wanted to treat Jasper to another meal. He was also happy for me when he heard I was chosen, for such a joyous occasion. "This one's on me. There is a place with the best fish balls. I'll take you there." It was lunchtime, and he had a break. I didn't refuse and went with him. The fishball stall was on the street. Jasper wiped a stool with his sleeve. "Sit." He seemed so carefree, yet so thoughtful. A gentle hand seemed to pluck at my heartstrings. I agreed and sat down next to him. The vendor brought us 2 bowls of steaming fish balls. I scooped one up and took a bite. It was so fresh and sweet, I almost bit my tongue. I smiled, my eyes crinkling. "Delicious!" "Slow down. Be careful it is not too hot," he advised. Then told me about other cheap and tasty snacks. "When we have time, I'll take you to try all of them." I don't know if it was the warm fish balls or his comforting words, but I felt a warmth spread through me. A jumble of memories flashed through my mind. I looked at Jasper and said, "Mr. Gu, from now on, just call me Felicity." "All right, Felicity. After we finish, I'll walk you home." Jasper smiled and agreed. Jasper walked me home many times. From our first awkward encounter to our pleasant conversations now, only a month had passed. On the way, Jasper mentioned a thief had been active in the city recently, and told me to lock my doors and windows at night. I've crossed paths with him. He is quite skilled. As he spoke, he suddenly stopped. "What?" I started to ask, but before I could finish, he grabbed my waist and spun me around. We were suddenly very close. The autumn clothes were not thick, and his hand on my waist was scorching hot, the heat searing all the way to my heart, making it tremble. "Forgive my impertinence," he whispered in my ear. "The thief I mentioned is nearby. I can't let him see me." I suppressed the strange feeling in my heart. "It is all right." Jasper let go. "I have to go after him now. You go on home, Mr. Gu. I'll go to the office and get some help for you." Jasper smiled and nodded, then quickly pursued the distant figure. I didn't dare delay and turned to find his constables. When they heard my story and where Jasper and I had parted, they immediately set off to provide backup. Back home, I had the donkey turn the millstone. Stone went round and round, but my mind was elsewhere. I wondered if Jasper would be able to catch the thief. The thief was skilled, Would Jasper get hurt? By the time I finished my chores, it was dark. I was worried about Jasper, so I lit a lantern and headed to his house to check on him, taking a meal I had prepared with me. Jasper's house was some distance from mine. When I arrived, the door was shut tight. He probably wasn't back yet. I stood there for a long time holding the food box. Thank goodness. Felicity, you are really here. I don't know how much time had passed, but Jasper came running. Out of breath. He saw the food box in my arms and was slightly taken aback. For me? Yes. I was too embarrassed to say I was worried about him, so I used the excuse of bringing him food. How long have you been waiting, silly? Aren't you tired? Tired. I thought about my time at the Zhao family. I was always waiting for Nicholas, waiting for him to eat with me, waiting for him to spare me a moment of his time. No one ever asked if I was tired. It seemed I had gotten used to it myself. I shook my head. It is fine. Did you catch him? Are you hurt, Mr. Gu? At this? A smile returned to Jasper's face. Thanks to you for getting reinforcements so quickly. My men and I were able to bust the whole den. I was going to your place to celebrate, but you weren't there. I asked around, and Granny Fang said she saw you come looking for me, so I rushed back. Asked around, I suddenly remembered an argument with Nicholas. He had taken in Eleanor, and I only found out when I came home from selling tofu. We had a huge fight. When the family was dirt poor, Eleanor had married a rich man. Then bandits had raided their home, killing the husband and stealing their wealth, leaving only Eleanor. That is when she remembered to seek refuge with Nicholas. Nicholas didn't think her choice was wrong. He thought I was being petty and narrow-minded. He said that as a woman, I should not be so harsh on a widow. I couldn't win the argument and ran out crying. I thought he would come after me. I waited under the willow tree outside our house. I waited and waited until the lights in the courtyard went out. He never came. Even if he didn't like me, we had lived together under the same roof for years. Nicholas didn't care about me as much as Jasper, whom I had known for less than 2 months. It was clear that Jasper was just a good person. My mind was in a turmoil. Jasper smiled. Come on, let's go celebrate. But his men were all male. It didn't seem right for me to be the only woman. Jasper seemed to understand my hesitation. It is fine. Some of the men are bringing their wives. The speaker was careless, but the listener was not. They were bringing their wives. And what was my status? The celebration was at a small roadside stall. The men drank and laughed, while I sat with the other women, listening to their household chatter and making a few new friends. It was nice. Before, my life revolved around making tofu and Nicholas. From now on, I would have my own life, my own plans, and my own friends. And so the days passed. I sold tofu and cooked for the government office. It was hard work, but by the end of the year, including the money I had brought with me, I had saved another 10 taels of silver. This new year was particularly lively. The old neighbors and my new female friends, knowing I was alone, all came over during the New Year's Eve dinner, bringing their families and bowls of food to share. They would take a piece of my fried tofu and leave a steamed sausage or some cured meat. Some brought eggs and vegetables. It was all out of kindness. I sniffled and put everything away carefully. The snow was falling heavily. Jasper stood on the porch, brushing the snow off himself before stepping inside. He invited me to set off fireworks. The government office was busy at the end of the year. Since Jasper lived alone, he was the last to get off duty. I knew he hadn't eaten yet. I made him sit down and eat with me. There was soup in the pot, simmering over a charcoal fire. The soup bubbled, and the aroma filled the room. Jasper and I sat facing each other. He complimented my new clothes. I smiled. I made them from the cloth you gave me. You have good taste, Mr. Gu. Then I took a new pair of shoes I had made from my chest. I made these in my spare time. See if they fit, Mr. Gu. I don't know if it was the hot pot or the charcoal fire, but our gazes met through the rising steam. My heart thumped wildly, and my face grew warm. Across from me, Jasper's earlobes turned red. All right. As Jasper was trying on the shoes, someone knocked on the courtyard gate. It was probably another neighbor, using the excuse of wanting to taste my cooking to bring me something. I was grateful for everyone's generosity. I didn't have much to give in return, except for some good tofu. I went to open the door with a smile, but the smile froze on my face. Outside, Nicholas stood in the snow. His clothes were tattered, his beard unshaven. His shoes, caked with dirt, had holes in them. It had only been half a year, but he looked several years older. The curve of my lips disappeared. The cold wind blew, and my expression turned frosty. "What are you doing here?" The moment Nicholas saw me, his dull eyes lit up. He called out my name with surprise, Felicity, and reached out for me. I took a step back. "We have nothing to do with each other anymore. Don't be so familiar." "No, I never agreed to break the engagement," Nicholas explained hastily, his dry, chapped lips cracking and bleeding from the excitement. He looked rather pitiful. The blood was so red, just like the color of my silk cloth, bright and piercing. "It doesn't matter if you didn't agree. We have no contract, no tokens of betrothal. From now on, we should treat each other as strangers." The Zhao family had indeed been kind to me, but I had worked like an ox for many years, which I considered repayment. We owed each other nothing. Hearing this, Nicholas made a move to kneel. "Felicity, I was wrong before. I mistook a fisheye for a pearl, thinking Eleanor was perfect. I always ignored your feelings. From now on, I will change my ways and treat only you well for the rest of my life." He cried and whimpered, and the noise hurt my ears. At this impasse, I heard Jasper's concerned voice from behind me. "Felicity, what is wrong?" He hadn't seen Nicholas outside and came to my side. "The shoes fit perfectly. Thank you for your trouble." "Who are you?" Nicholas shrieked like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. "Felicity, how dare you cheat on me with another man?" Before I could speak, Jasper reacted faster. He grabbed Nicholas by the collar and lifted him up like a radish from the ground. Where did this madman come from, barking incessantly? He glanced at me, asking for my opinion. "Ignore him, let's continue eating," I said. Jasper loosened his grip, and Nicholas fell into the snow with a thud. You just wait. I am a scholar." Nicholas had never been treated like this by me. He didn't take his anger out on me, but on Jasper. Jasper chuckled. "As if you are the only scholar around. Get lost, or I'll have you arrested for causing a disturbance and you can spend the new year in jail." Nicholas, unsure of Jasper's background, scrambled to his feet, his earlier confrontational attitude gone. "I am Felicity's fiancé. Who are you?" The commotion had attracted the attention of the neighbors. A crowd had gathered. They started whispering. "The Liu girl is engaged," she never said. Nonsense. Felicity's only proper engagement was with the Guiu family. The rest are fake. Faced with Jasper's questioning gaze, I didn't know how to explain. It seemed any explanation would be awkward. I was engaged to Jasper first, then somehow had another fiancé. To say my engagement with Jasper was void, yet I was still in contact with him. It all made me look like I was playing both sides. In my nervousness, Jasper stepped in front of me. "What a coincidence. I am also Felicity's fiancé." He said it loud and clear, and everyone, including Nicholas, heard him. Nicholas's face turned shades of green and white, his lips trembling. "I was engaged to Felicity first." Jasper laughed and unfastened his collar, taking out half a jade pendant from around his neck. This was the token exchanged between Felicity's parents and my family. "Uncle Liu, you were there, weren't you?" An old man with a cane stepped out from the crowd. He came closer to look and nodded. Indeed, a few neighbors were invited to witness the engagement. I remember there was a written contract as well. Nicholas looked on, bewildered. He shook his head. "I don't believe it. Felicity, how can an old engagement be taken seriously? You were in love with me." I thanked the crowd for speaking up for me and said to Nicholas coldly, "It was just repaying a debt. You have your own love, your widowed childhood sweetheart. I have found my childhood friend. Everyone is happy. Don't come looking for me again." I was about to send him away, but Nicholas was ready to cause more trouble. After a warning glare from Jasper, he left dejectedly. Only Jasper and I were left in the courtyard. I felt I had caused him trouble. Mr. Guo, I am sorry to have troubled you. Now that you've mentioned our engagement in front of everyone, it might be difficult for you to find a wife in the future. The first sentence was sincere. The second, I felt a pang of sadness as I said it. Jasper was a good person. How could I not be moved by him? But after this, would he think I was? I lowered my head, clutching my dress. A soft laugh came from above. Well then, Felicity, are you willing to marry me? I was stunned and looked up abruptly, my surprised gaze meeting Jasper's smiling eyes. What? I was planning to ask you today if you would be willing to marry me. I smiled, my vision blurring with tears. I am, I said, overjoyed. Suddenly, fireworks exploded in the night sky, blooming one after another. Jasper gently took my hand. Felicity, do you like it? I do. I like the fireworks, and I like you. To avoid Nicholas's harassment, I spent New Year's Eve at Granny Fang's house. Her house was spacious, and she had 2 married sons living with her. Nicholas didn't dare come near me. We had it all planned. Since I had no family, I would be married from Granny Fang's house. The engagement was set, and Jasper came with the betrothal gifts the next day. The neighbors all came to congratulate us. Among the gifts was the other half of the jade pendant. Because I had mentioned that the engagement was void, he had never given it to me. Now that our feelings were confirmed, he personally put it on for me. The wedding was a bit rushed, but Jasper did his best to make everything perfect within his means, especially the wedding dress. After I told him about being kidnapped and taken in by the Zhao family, he sent someone to buy 2 bolts of expensive red silk for my dress. This is such a waste. The thought of the cost made my heart ache. Marrying you is worth anything. Besides, I have some savings. This is nothing. I was filled with gratitude and joy. I remembered how I had saved for so long just to buy enough red silk for a veil. And now the man who loved me was presenting me with the best. How could I not be moved? Besides the wedding at home, there were candies and other things to buy. Jasper was busy at the office, so he gave me his purse and let me choose what I liked. Granny Fang and a few female friends helped me. Unexpectedly, we ran into Nicholas, who had been waiting for us around the corner. He held up the faded red handkerchief, looking pitiful. Felicity, I washed it. From now on, I will never let you suffer again. I frowned. One of my friends sneered. Hey, what is that? Don't let it dirty our Felicity's eyes. I nodded. Yes, Nicholas, don't dirty my eyes. Tears streamed down his face. This was your most treasured possession. I've kept it with me all this time. My most treasured possession was never a piece of cloth. It was a sincere heart, and my heart now belonged to someone else. Go away. Go and be with Eleanor forever. I won't be in your way. At the mention of Eleanor, anger flashed in Nicholas's eyes. Bah, that wretched woman! She saw I had spent all my money and failed the exams, so she abandoned me and ran off with another man. Ran off. I had to remind him that Eleanor was never with him in the first place. It wasn't called running off. Nicholas's face twisted in pain. I was so foolish. Felicity, you were the one who treated me best. How did I lose you? How could I have been so stupid? He slapped himself twice across the face, then seemed to remember something. Felicity, hit me, vent your anger, and come home with me. Home, to wash his clothes, cook his meals, and earn money to support his women. I closed my eyes. If it weren't for the Zhao family's kindness, I would have left long ago. I wouldn't have waited until my heart was dead to leave. Eleanor wasn't the only reason I left. Nicholas was. Of course, I didn't plan to forgive either of them. Nicholas, you don't miss me. You miss my care. You miss having someone to earn money for you. You pride yourself on being a scholar, yet you won't even work to support your family. You deserve to live like a ghost. Don't come looking for me again. See him once. Hit him once. I meant it. On my wedding day with Jasper, Nicholas tried to block my sedan chair. He was dragged away by Jasper's men and given a good beating. I don't know what happened to Nicholas after that. I had no time to know. As a newlywed, my thoughts were only of my husband. Jasper lifted my veil. In the flickering candlelight, he gazed at my shy face and said dreamily, "Felicity, you are so beautiful today." "Am I not beautiful on other days?" I teased. His face turned redder than mine. "You are always beautiful." After bowing to heaven and earth, I grew bolder. I reached out and cupped his face. The touch of our skin was scalding, warming my heart. "Confess, was it love at first sight? If I wasn't pretty, you wouldn't have liked me, would you?" His eyes widened in surprise, and he swore to the heavens. "When we first met again, you were timid but dared to fight back. I found you interesting. A weak woman who could support herself with her own skills. I admired your resilience. Getting to know you, I realized that your beauty is the least of your virtues." As he spoke, I could feel his face growing hotter under my palms. Sometime during his speech, he had wrapped his arm around my waist. A gentle kiss landed on my lips. Before he could continue, I shyly pushed him away. "We haven't had the wedding wine yet." We didn't dare to look at each other as we drank the cross-cupped wine. Outside, the full moon hung high in the sky. The bells on the bed curtains tinkled incessantly. A spring night is worth 1,000 pieces of gold. Epilogue: after our marriage, Jasper achieved one success after another. The following year, he was promoted to work under the chief administrator. I bought a shop and continued my tofu business. But this time, I didn't have to hawk my wares on the streets. I hired people and made many innovations. Business was good. With money and leisure, I also became pregnant. The next year, I gave birth to a son and a daughter. The business expanded from one shop to 2. My plan was to open shops all over Fuzhou. Of course, I couldn't just sell tofu. I had to think of other things. Jasper and his men worked together to catch several human traffickers, rescuing many abducted children. Seeing those children reunited with their parents eased the nightmares of my own childhood. Life was simple but happy one day. I went to the temple with a friend to pray for our children's safety. Her husband was one of Jasper's men. As we were chatting, she mentioned a murder case in the neighboring county. A scholar with the surname Zhao had killed a woman with the surname He. That woman was the concubine of a rich merchant, she said with a sigh. When the killer came at her with a knife, the merchant pushed her forward as a shield. What a coward. But they're all dead now. The scholar killed himself in the end, shouting something about regret. What a tragedy. I listened, and the face of an old acquaintance flashed through my mind. I quickly pushed the thought away. Grudges and feuds, who can say for sure? I said calmly. We should just focus on living our own lives. My friend smiled. You are right. And so, we lived, simply and happily. And that was more than enough.